Hey guys, it's Houndx here, and today we're going to be taking a look at Samsung's 2020 model of their G5 Odyssey. The model I have is the 1440p 144hz version. It's also 1000R curved. What makes this monitor very interesting is that I managed to get it for a very good price when it was on sale. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. So at the time of recording this video, the 27-inch model of this monitor costs around $300, and the 32-inch one is $50 more at $350. Depending on when you buy this monitor, the prices may vary, so remember to check the links down below in the description for price changes. Alright, so first off we have the specifications of this monitor. Now, the monitor I have, the main specifications are it's 1440p, and it has a 144Hz refresh rate, and it's 1 millisecond response time. At least they claim it to be, but we're going to test that in a second. It's also 200 nits in brightness typically, but you can bump that up to over 300 nits by adjusting the brightness all the way to 100 if you want. It's 1000R curved, it's got VA panels, and it supports AMD FreeSync. Most of the monitor is made out of plastic, and I don't really see that much weak spots as far as I noticed, but I'm pretty much fine with how it looks. On the back you can also use this plastic holder for cable management. You can also adjust the tilt of the monitor by pushing and holding it. On the back part where the ports are, it has a HDMI port, a display port, a USB-A port, and the port where you plug in the adapter to power on the monitor. There's also an audio jack to the left of the HDMI port. When it comes to build quality and design, I don't really mind anything. I am a little bit disappointed that it didn't have the best build quality. I noticed on some other cheaper monitors I got better build quality than this one. You can invest some money to get a custom VESA mounting stand, since the one in stock can be detachable. Now let's compare this monitor to the G7 monitor. Now, one of the main differences is probably the RGB. The G7 one has lots of RGB, and this one doesn't, so that might be something you want to consider. The G7 monitor, it comes with 240Hz refresh rate, so it's a little more responsive. It also has RGB near the area where you mount the included stand. G7 also comes included with more USB ports than the G5. Now in my opinion, I don't really think the 240Hz on the 1440p monitor is really worth the premium, because very few gaming PCs can even hit 240 FPS in those AAA titles. So for the average consumer, you're probably gonna have to downscale to 1080p in order to hit 240 FPS, unless if you have an NVIDIA RTX 3090 or an AMD RX 6800 XT. You're probably not going to be able to hit 240 FPS on average in those very new AAA titles. And the RTX 3090 is something I don't have. Very few people even have that card. I have the RTX 3070, and I think even fewer people have the 6800 XT. This monitor would be an overall great choice for Xbox X series, but something to keep in mind is that Sony announced that their PS5s won't support native 1440p resolutions. So if you are going to get this monitor, it may not work well with the Sony PlayStation 5 because it's going to downgrade it to 1080p. One thing I do like about this monitor is that the controller that you enter into settings menu is very user friendly. I would consider this a strong pro, because a lot of those other monitors, oftentimes they have these really complex settings menu, and I don't really like that. But this controller is just one single button at the center. Another thing I like about this monitor is that it's very easy to set up HDR. In fact, for me, I think it's a lot easier compared to the other monitors I have had in the past. Now, something I don't really like about this monitor is the display port compatibility. It's not 1.4, it's 1.2. And the HDMI port's not the newest one. It's 2.0, not 2.1. It's a little bit outdated, and it's not the latest version. However, I did do some research, and I noticed that HDR is still supported by these versions, so I don't really think that matters that much. But if you are someone who wants to stay up to date, then this could be something you should consider. Now, I know I'm going to get a bunch of questions down below regarding the ghosting of this monitor. To be honest, I don't really notice that much. The time when I noticed the most ghosting is when I was like dragging a window and like shaking it around. If you're gonna do like simple tasks like web browsing and stuff like you do on a daily basis, then I don't think you're gonna really notice much of difference. However, you could tell the ghosting when you're in like a really super competitive first person shooter game. In my case, I didn't really notice any, but some people might. And another thing to note is that when you unbox this monitor, you will notice that it will only come with just one HDMI cable. It does not come with an included DisplayPort cable, so you're gonna have to have like one of those ready, or you're gonna need to buy one. Color accuracy on this monitor is acceptable. It's not the best, it's not the worst either. It's pretty much what you expect at this price range. I don't want to really get too much depth in that. So finally, we're at the conclusion about this monitor and whether I'd recommend it or not. If you're a budget gamer and you're looking for like a really cheap budget 1440p 144hz monitor, then definitely recommend this to you. And when it comes to choosing the 27-inch versus the 32-inch one, I don't think it matters that much. It's up to you, I guess. However, if you want something that has better quality, then I would invest something more like the Samsung G9. However, something to keep in mind is that I don't really recommend the G7 one because I've been having issues with it, and some other people have also been having like issues and problems with it. So just get like the G9 because I think that's a lot better than the G7. You're gonna certainly gonna have to invest more money, but it's gonna be worth it. Or another option for you is to get monitor from a different brand. Aside from that, I think this was a solid budget 1440p 144hz gaming monitor. So if you enjoyed today's video, remember to subscribe for more of these kind of videos. It helps me out a lot. And if you want me to make more of these kind of monitor videos, let me know down in the comments below. This is probably one of my very first ones. So anyways, I'll see you all in my next one.